Oh, so good to see you. Good morning, you venerable saints of art and craft. Whenever you create, you make something great, so let's make something great today. What do you say? And I know every one of you got something great inside, but a lot of folks feeling stuck. So if you are bedeviled by blockages, if you got a creative consternation, why don't you pick up that phone, dial the number down below, and we will make something great today. I want to say thank you to the Art Zealous youth singers. You kids keep hanging out here. Before you know, you're going to have enough singers to do a 3-part harmony. That's right. You two keep at it. I want to say thank you to middle-aged Agnes on the organ. What's that you're reading there, Agnes? Is that Irma Baumbach? She's great, ain't she? Much more functional. And folks, there's someone special I want you to meet. Someone as hard-working as she is sweet-turking, my lovely wife, Belle, who could not be here today because she had to cover a shift down at the diner. She's supposed to get Sundays off, and they know that, but you try telling that to Tabitha's morning sickness, okay? So we're going to thank her in absentia for all that she does, and we are going to miss her while she's gone. Darling, bring home some of that boysenberry pie. Do you kindly? Do you kindly? All right, folks. All right, okay. Well, I want to start you off with a question this morning. What's your art today? Perhaps you got something great you're working towards every single day already. Getting up early, staying up late, making your art. Or perhaps you're looking for a new project, like today's Tiny Homes in a Giant Fruit. That's right. That's right. Now, there are many benefits to tiny homes in a giant fruit. Whether you're running away from your cruel aunts in a giant peach, or queen of your town's big strawberry day parade, who among us can stand atop a giant piece of fruit without thinking, this would be a pretty ginchy crash pad? Giant fruits are the popular and instantly recognizable IP with cross-sectional appeal that requires no licensing fees to use. And finally, giant fruits are a reasonably common building material. Even if you haven't found a pocket full of enchanted seeds or lived through the events depicted in a Skittles commercial with their big fruit flavor, what's to keep you from learning to work with fiberglass? Anything can be a giant fruit. You just got to have a little know-how, a little elbow grease. And I know that you can tell me, for every school child knows them, what's art's commandment number 1? That's right, we aren't resourceful to start the fun. So when I say go, you're going to have 60 seconds and 60 seconds only to run and grab your resources. Any tool you like for any art you're going to make. Today I'll be using my standard doodlers, the pencil, the paper, the crayons, and a tall, refreshing beverage, because the most important tool is you. So get ready. You're going to have 60 seconds and 60 seconds only. So when I say go, you got to dart out of here. Get set. Hey, say, do you think that for giant fruit to taste like regular fruit would require a giant tongue? I mean, like, wouldn't the flavor molecules be about the size of ping pong balls? Go, 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 go! I tricked you. I tricked you. I tricked you pretty good. I tricked you pretty good. That's fine. Next time you'll get me. And to make these 60 seconds take forever, I will read boringly from the boring bulletin board. What time is it? Time to introduce a new kind of timepiece. The Swatch in Zurich, Switzerland. While I'm not exactly in the market at the moment for an expensive Swiss timepiece, Swatch is a clever portmanteau of the letter S and the word watch. The S stands for Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative, the Star Wars technology to intercept enemy missiles. So if you're the type of person who has everything but stime, consider picking up this weirdy, wacko weapon watch. And with that, concludes our boring bulletin for today. So if you want a link or have a bulletin for next week, anything artistic you need or want, send a self-addressed stamped envelope with the word boring to Post Office Box 775-278-9325, Schenectady, New York, and trust in your community of venerable saints to provide. Well, friends, now that we have what we need, I guess it's time to make some art. We are devoted. So this is the moment that we roll up our sleeves and devote our full attention to the task at hand. And as all great art starts in the butt, for a grand idea is nothing if you cannot sit down your buttocks, the very last thing we do before we sit is we shake out the wiggles, shake out the wiggles, shake that butt, shake that butt, and sit. Woo! Congratulations, you are now a serious artist. Art commandment number 3 is that we art fondly. If everything goes perfect, how will this art look and sound? What will this art say? Let us picture that art already done and perfect and talk real fondly to it. Say, "Hey there, tiny homes and giant fruit. Don't you look nice today? I sure do like your curb appeal. Appeal. Woo! Fruit puns. I hope that's not the last one. So think of what you love about living in a giant piece of fruit and jot that down real quick. We got about 2 minutes left. Agnes is on the clock. You know she won't let us forget. So jot down what it is you love as though everything were perfect and you were looking at it through your fond, rosy colored glasses. Say, "Hey there, giant fruit, tiny home. I sure do love your waste prevention strategy." That's right. How are you going to make sure all that giant fruit stuff don't go to waste? The juice, the seeds, all that. It's something you got to think about. James and the Giant Peach, he let all the children of New York eat his peach and they just lived in the pit. That's a fine strategy, and indeed, the most important thing to him was to have a family and friends. So in trading that, he got effectively what he needed, and I think that's a fine strategy. So you just have to be thinking about what your waste prevention strategy is. I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear it. All right. "Hey there, tiny homes in a giant piece of fruit. I sure do like your thoughtful use of limited interior space." That's right. That's right. Where are you going to put all the things you need? Where are you going to put your grandfather clock? Is this maybe a place where that's a central piece that is going to be really important to the overall aesthetic? Or is maybe that something that you don't need to bring along with you? Say, "Hey there, tiny home in a giant fruit. Sure do love your hammocks." That's right, I'm going to have a hammock. I love a hammock. I always put a hammock in. All my designs have a hammock in it. Say, "Hey there, tiny homes and giant piece of fruit. Sure do love your practical considerations." That's right. You know, are birds going to be landing on this thing? Is that something you have to worry about? I know that rats love to get all over the avocado trees. Like if you're living in a giant avocado, do you have rats all the time just swarming over your house? That's a practical consideration. So, like any workable living space, you need to put some thought into what that's going to be. So there, tiny home in a giant piece of fruit. I sure do love your unforgettable presentation. Somebody sees a giant banana house? Damn. They ain't never going to forget that. All right, folks. And with that, it appears that our time to art fondly is officially up. Now, wasn't that nice? Okay, friends. Well, that means I guess we got our jots and it's time to start a doodling. That is right. Because now it is time for us to art lightly. Lightly. Pencils only, no crayons, no erasers, breezy, easy, everything we do is correct. We are here to play. What will we find on the page today? So next, we take 10 minutes and just do the sketchiest, lightest, fastest, easiest version we can to discover and see what we come up with. All right, here, let me get this. Let's take a look at that, and here we go. Tiny homes in a giant fruit. Here we go. We got our curb appeal. We got our waste prevention strategy, our thoughtful use of limited space, our practical considerations, our unforgettable presentation. What's the most important thing here? What is the thing that we want to use as the guiding principle that determines the overall shape of this design? I think it might be the presentation. So why don't we look at our fruit examples? We got our apple here. That's not very visible. Let's see if I can pull that in a little bit. See if I can pull that in just a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's see, filters. Okay. How's that? Boom. Boom. I think that's better still. Great. Okay. So let's look at our presentation here. We've got our apple, our strawberry, our pineapple. The pineapple is a hard-to-beat presentation, but I don't want to, probably at some point there's going to be somebody who lives in a giant pineapple, and I don't want to bite any of that skis because it's a little on the nose, you know what I'm talking about? Because it's got a beautiful top piece, and it's also got a rigid exterior that it's its own defense perimeter in there, which is not necessarily the case with a giant peach. The giant peach invites nibblers. Carrot ain't a fruit. That's straight out. Broccoli, you look like a tree, but you're not. You're not a tree, so you're not a fruit. This is a tomato, which is interesting for its seed structure, because it is technically a fruit, but it does not resemble it. And also, it's not like a peach, which is going to leave a pit behind that you can live inside. So you have to think about how that's going to age. Is a giant tomato house going to be as good on the 10th year as it is at the end of the first year? Mayhaps not. So I like things like an orange rind or a lime rind because you get all of the interior space, right? Like, so a giant peach, all you're going to have is the pit at the center. That's going to be your home when it goes to live with. But if you take all the fruit, meat, the flesh of the fruit outside of an orange, then you've still got this beautiful superstructure, this sort of starburst structure here. And each of those segments is, potentially another room of your tiny house. So think of all the space that you're going to be getting if you live in a giant orange or even a giant lime. So we got a tomato, we got a citrus. This is a pomegranate, which is a very unusual piece of fruit, which, might be to our benefit. Sort of shape on the inside, kind of a peace sign. It's also got that interesting stem pipette there. That's, gosh, what do you call that? It's kind of a natural chimney, really. Why don't we go with that? It's got chambers. The pomegranate has a hard exterior, so it's really a very practical giant fruit. It's a weatherproof fruit. It's not like the peach, which is going to get all eaten away by birds and sharks and rhinos and thunder, lightning. It's going to have a hard shell exterior. It's got very interesting interior chambers, and then it's got that spout at the top. So it's a spheroid, which means that it's got a lot of interesting interior volume with not too many fleshy bits, but enough subdivisions in here that you can have distinctive living areas, which is something I think we'll take advantage of here. So we've got just 6 minutes remaining here in our arting lightly, and let's see what we get here. Okay, all right, okay. All right. Okay. All right. And we go. Okay. Now, let's put this, let's build this as though it's sort of on pylons, because I mean, you think like, does this want to live on the top of the Empire State Building? Does this want to live in the Central Park? Where is this house going to come to rest? So either it's maybe on a dock, so it's like a houseboat, which is nice because plants and water are nice. And then there's also some argument, I think, for there to be made for it to be in any environments where there maybe is flooding. So just get it up off the ground, because one thing you're going to have with a nice round piece of giant fruit is it'll tip, it'll roll over. Okay. 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 There we go. So I'm going to use that central spine there as a sort of chimney. And I like that. I like that. The chimney. So we're gonna use the central spine there as a sort of like one of those like 60s fireplaces. Let's start to subdivide. We're gonna break some floors out here. We have to give a little thought to what we want the various spaces to be. Okay. And we're going to have our hammock. You can see some hammocks there. Is that hammock maybe going to be on a bed of pomegranate, giant baseball-sized pomegranate seeds? So it's you lay on a sluicing bed of giant bubbles. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to... I think that because of the limited space we have inside the husk of a pomegranate, that by the time we take occupancy of this place, that we're going to have all the fruit cleared out. Just treat it like that's how it's going to go. Let's treat it like that's how it's going to go. What do you say? What do you say? Okay. All right. Oh, hold on. Hold on there. Okay. Okay. All right. So we got very interesting piece right here. Let's put some exterior things. So let's not go too much with the exterior adornments. We got about 2 minutes left here. Let's keep the exterior adornments to a minimum, because we don't want to detract from the idea that this is a giant fruit. So let's not go too crazy with the ornamental extremities. Let's just give some porthole windows, some porthole doors, like real round, and let's we're gonna have to have an outdoor area here, so that's something to think of. But that doesn't mean that we have to compromise. Do I want to put like an awning there? It's kind of a clamshell. Okay, all right, how about this? How about concept? What if the canopy is a giant lettuce leaf? Gosh, ooh, do I love it? Do I hate it? I don't know. It's as though the aesthetic is fruits and vegetables, and I don't think that's actually what we're doing here. I think you'd want to I don't know, I'm of two minds on this. All right, what if it's like a fruit salad? So it's like toothpick, architectural elements, artichoke leaf, balcony. All right, let's get some more of the living spaces here visualized a bit more thoughtfully. There we go. Get that cooking. So some stairs, a door. Get a door here. And then this is sort of this is an awning over the door, and it goes into the main chamber here. So I think ultimately this is going to have to split off into two spaces, but this is where the family can, like, you know, it's a sort of a mud room for if you're covered with too much berry juice when you come in. You can hang up your all-weather berry boots. Not really a berry. Is the fruit of a pomegranate something that can be described as a berry? It's got a berry-like aspect to it, doesn't it? It's closer to berry than a lot of other things, in this commentator's opinion. Okay, that's not going to be what we want to do here. We're going to keep it sketchy. Okay, and then let's give it just a moment longer, and stop. Let's stop right there. Stop right there for a moment. What do you say? What do you say? Okay, that's 10 minutes. That's 10 good, solid minutes here. How'd that feel? How'd that feel? Well, congratulations. It should feel very good, because now you got a tiny little baby work of art. And I know you say, well, Zell, this here ain't art. This is just a little doodle. I'll tell you what. Up here in the imagination there are ideas uncountable, and it is glorious, but it ain't real. It's okay, though, because nothing is real until somebody makes it real. So you went up there, you grabbed onto an idea, you took its hand, you marched it down the stairs, and you put it on paper. And so you made it real. Now you can hand that to the giant greengrocer at your grocery store, and he'll look at that and say, oh, I think I get the picture. And when you go away, when you go back to the freezer aisle, and pull yourself inside and eat a popsicle, well, that little doodle you gave to the greengrocer is still going to be there. And that's what makes it real. You have communicated independently, and now a real thing is in the world. Of course, to make something finally means more than to make it. So now is the stage of refinement. Now you know what you're going to make, so now it's time to make it great. Now it's playtime. Make it bigger, make it nicer, set it aside completely and start over. Make it 100 times if it pleases you. And while that happens, while we work on our art, you and me is going to shoot the breeze, going to keep companies. And I know that everyone's trying to get through, so I better get to work, folks. Folks, the creative confessional of the airwaves is now open. So if you have got crafty consternations, I completely understand. We are going to be your artful solutions. You pick up that phone. You call that number down below. We're going to talk you through it. Meanwhile, we're going to make art together, and we'll see what we come up with. We'll show it on the TV. All right. So let's go back here, and I'll start to draw out what I'm working on here while I take your calls. Okay. So I'm gonna drop down the opacity. I arted lightly there, but now it's gonna be traced over something a little bit more permanent. And so let's see. Forgive me there. You can see it. I've been up all night working on art. I'm like many artists. In the morning, I am sluggish. But let's get the more defined pomegranate look here. Okay, get some more of that stack there. We're gonna want to really nail that, because that's one of the things that says pomegranate very clearly. It's a very distinctive sort of top, and so let's not feel bad if we take a moment here and get that looking real nice. Whoa. Suitable of a jughead. Suitable for jugheading. It's a crown worthy of a king. King jughead. Okay, so I'm going to do some smoke coming out of there. A little bit of smoke coming out of the chimney here. while I'm up on the chimney. That's satisfactory smoke. It's not strong smoke, but just it's a few puffs. It's a few amble puffs, and you can see that I'm steering it off to the side there, and that's just a function of, I don't like the size of that. It's just a function of the overall size of the fruit on the composition. So maybe smoke wouldn't trail quite so lazily, but maybe it would. Maybe there's a prevailing breeze, and so we get a little bit of smoke curling lazily from our giant pomegranate stem stack. And I'm going to go ahead and make some of the exterior elements here that are important for some of the exterior elements that are important for the overall look of the thing. And let's see here. Why don't we? I'm going to trace some lazy lines here so that there's a bit of the curvature in evidence. And I'm not going to let these lines go because we're showing kind of a hollowed out thing here. And we're not going to want to obscure it with exterior lines. But around the edge of the thing, we can have a few elements to suggest what it would look like if we were not seeing. And it's not strictly a cross section. It's got like sort of an it is a bit like the style of a cross section, but we've got it's more of like we rubbed it with an invisibility salve, and so it's just invisible. We're not actually seeing it cut, strictly speaking, in half. So we're just going to do some curvature lines here, and you can see that I'm leaving them on the edges and starting to just shade them out a little bit in the middle there, and it's fine. Again, it's fine. It doesn't have to do much work here, but it's going to suggest a little bit of curvature here. Make the whole space a little bit more sensible. Let's get our pylons made a little bit more explicit. And you can see I'm doing the same thing with the dock here. The dock presumably extends all the way around the pomegranate, but we are not showing the middle pieces here because we see everything cut away. So you can sort of fade it out, and that will indicate that you're seeing something that has been invisibilated. So I'm going to give it like some rope or something like that. This is just a nice thick pole. Got some waves here. I don't know about that. Okay. So get these poles here. Okay. All right. Well, these calls are they're clogging up the phone lines here. Presumably, that's my explanation for why the phone ain't ringing off the hook. And I know we ain't been doing this too long, but it's 1983, so folks are very bullish on the telephone, and they're excited to call and to have conversations. So that's the only explanation I have for the current quiet. But we're still a growing ministry, and I know when more artists find us that we'll be able to thrive, and then I bet we won't be able to take all the calls we're getting. But friends, I do got a postcard here. I got a postcard sent in from St. Sarah of Ames, Iowa. Hey there, St. Sarah. And St. Sarah says, "Dear Art Zealous, love the program." Well, that's very sweet. Thank you very much, Sarah. "I am learning to be a ballet dancer, and I sometimes invite friends to my local ballet recitals. I do not wish to be a burden to them, but they do lean on us pretty heavy down at the ballet studio. They ask us, that's how they make most of their money through the ticket sales. So you do have to bring people to these ballet recitals, Art. But Art, after one of these programs, there's a friend of mine who was nowhere to be found. And Art, I am forced to wonder if she walked out mid-performance. I never got a chance to ask, and now that friend appears to be avoiding me. What do I do, Art?" Signed, St. Sarah of Ames, Iowa. Art, thank you. I love you, the program. What do I do? Well, thank you for writing in. First of all, thank you for writing in, Saint Sarah. This is, let me start off by saying, this is an identifiable problem. Like, this is a problem that many, many artists will know, which is that, a lot of times when you're starting out, you are exhibiting work that you know is a work in progress. And I want to start off by saying, good for you. Good for you. You should be very proud that you were doing that, and I'm very proud of you that you are arting proudly, because you are further along than you have ever been, and you're only getting better. Now, that said, sometimes the things that we make objectively are not as strong as the professional grade ballet that perhaps that your friend is used to, if they are fans of the ballet and attend a lot of ballet. So there's going to be a quality differential, and not every person is going to want to watch a ballet recital done by amateurs. And so, we got to be respectful of other folks' time and their energies, and certainly it's nice when a friend comes out to support you, but also that creates quite, potentially a burden on the friend and a burden on the friendship that you're not always going to want to be responsible for. So you invite them to your thing, and I don't hear you mired in self-pity. You sound like you're pretty self-aware. So I think you're holding this reasonably well. Your friend walked out, and now that friend appears to be avoiding you. What do you do? Well, I'm sorry that's happening. That has got to be frustrating. I mean, I know that you're aware that you're starting out in this, but that your friend, potentially has hurt your feelings a little bit here by doing that. And my solution for you, and I know that Belle would echo this if she were here, is for you to hold this lightly. Don't take this too seriously, because ultimately there is nothing that you could be, as they say, a hanging crime. You didn't do anything wrong. And your friend, who maybe didn't like the performance, didn't do anything wrong either. That's fine if they don't like the performance. That's up to them, right? I mean, they get to choose how to spend their time, and presumably if you're inviting them in the spirit of friendship, then they need to be able to say in the spirit of friendship, this is not for me, I got to clear out of here. That's A-okay. You didn't do anything wrong, they didn't do anything wrong. Now, it's harder because your friend didn't say, hey, good job, or oh, you're really getting better at ballet, or oh, thanks for inviting me, or any of that jazz. But I would also caution you that your ballet performance may be only one of a number of things going on in your friend's life. What if your friend had a health issue, or a family member that needed attention, or a work situation? All of these things, as well as an infinitude of other things, would be a good enough reason for your friend to say, I'm sorry, this is just not a good time for me right now. Your friend may have other things going on in their life other than their interest in amateur ballet. And so try to remember that everyone that you meet is fighting a great battle, just as you are. They have the things that they're confident about, they have things that they are not confident about, and that they love you. You haven't done anything wrong, just as much as they did before. This doorknob's really giving me trouble. Are you seeing this, Sarah? This doorknob, does it go on the edge of the door? Does it go on the front of the door? What's going on here? You can see that I'm trying to bring the pomegranate motif back into the door, the glass of the door. The top half, then the sort of inverted peace sign. Anyway, so my advice to you is don't stress out. Hold this lightly. and give it a little time. And then find some other reason to give your friend a call. Say, hey, having a barbecue. You want to come out? Miss you. Bye. Keep it real breezy. And then don't mention it again unless you feel that you must. And I hope that you don't. And then, to invite this friend out to things. Don't feel like you need to retaliate. You create opportunities for them, and it's fine if they take you up on it, and it's time if they ain't. It's fine if they ain't. So I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. I think that you're well positioned to handle it very well, and I hope that you get different results in the future. I hope that you're able to reconcile with this friend. I'm confident that you are, because you sound like a real delight, and so I'm sure your friend is going to be excited to be reconnected with you. And if you get to see that friend and it does appear that they're struggling with something, then you find an opportune time and check in with them. Say, hey, how you doing? Hey, you doing okay? Hey, you doing okay? Just want to check in on you. Haven't talked to you in a while. I think it's a beautiful thing that you're going to be able to do, because maybe that is so. And I would be very surprised if in 1 month's time you look back on the occasion at all. These things tend to be very large in our minds, in our neuroses, in our anxiety while they are happening. We make terrible fear-based predictions, and then it resolves quite anticlimactically, rarely having to do with the lurid scenario we have created of disaster, and then we barely even remember having had a problem at any time. So that's my prediction for you. So I'm sorry that you're experiencing it, but I think you're going to knock this one out of the park. So thank you, St. Sarah of Ames, Iowa, for sending this postcard. I really appreciate it. And for the rest of you, just keep trying to get through here. Just keep trying to get through. I really appreciate your trying to call, and we're going to do the best that we can to get you through here. I'm going to continue. We got a few minutes left here. We got let's see. So we're gonna take the remaining it's 15 the remaining moments of the show. So it's about 15 minutes left of the show, and we're gonna make this tiny house and a giant pomegranate as good as we can be. You can see that I've clarified the fireplace here. Now I'm going through and I'm trying to make explicit the rind, sort of from like a sort of schematic point of view. Like take a look at this, and I've got elements here that are on the exterior, like that canopy right there. I've got elements that are going to be on the exterior of the pomegranate, and so you don't want those to overlap with the purely schematical elements here. So you can sort of see me peeling it back, and hopefully that will do more to suggest that we're seeing part of this as the inside and part of this as the outside. Of course, you can do a cutaway, just sort of show like a sort of a dotted line where the visible becomes invisible, and now you're looking inside. That's a great way to do this, and you can do it with shading as well. But now, just in the flat draftsmanship here, I'm just doing a little bit to sort of get the exterior elements a little bit shaded through here, and oftentimes stepping back and taking a look at a structural element like this can really open up your understanding of what the space is capable of. So if you recall, like the interior flesh of a pomegranate has sort of a peace sign motif, and so we're assuming here that in this giant pomegranate that we have been able to maintain that flesh, and then it's sort of mummified and desiccated and become dried out and hard, like the exterior of the pomegranate here. And I got stairs, and those are not going to do. I can do better than that. I'm going to go ahead and use the doodling tablet here to give me a uniform line width, and then I'm going to hold down here, and that makes it so that the entire thing snaps in place. Look at that. Doing! And then it sharpens. That's a set of stairs. That's how you do that. Okay. So we've got the central fireplace there. That's real nice. And then we've got like a sort of recirculation system here that runs. Perhaps that's a fireplace / pizza oven, but then also you're able to feed it little dried pomegranate seeds. You got a stack of little dried pomegranate seeds. You throw it in. They burn so good because they're all sugar and plant matter. and they dry out. It's nature's Duralog. So we got those, and then maybe that heat pipes down into the under areas of the house, and we'll find something to do with that. But so we got our kitchen area here, and you can sort of see that there's maybe a counter or a counter island that's hugging the interior of the pomegranate on the second floor. And I've got some windows here, and I've tried to indicate that there's interior and exterior by changing their direction slightly. So you're seeing like the back of them, but again, the draftsmanship is questionable. But let's make sure that we have a place to crash when we're working on this. So we got our hammock rendering. And now this is going to be depicted as just a single hammock. Ugh, look at that rock for a pillow. Let's get a more traditional pillow shape there. There you go. There you go. Perfect. More traditional pillow shape there. And we got so that's going to be probably a few different. Could be a few different hammocks, but that'll be like a bed area. And so it'll be the thought is that the hammocks will be at the top there, and then they'll hang, so you can sort of slip down from the layer above. I try to do a little bit of just illustrating the fire here. So I'm going to give it like a little aura, give it some sort of teeth here. And that's gonna, there you go. That'll create something nice. Look at that. Look at that. Ain't that pretty? Ain't that pretty? Okay. Okay, we got all that done right there. It's looking nice. Get so that's heat emitting from that. Okay, that's really nice. It's a little bit unclear which of that is heat and which of that is the curvature of the exterior, but I don't think that it's going to break anything too horribly. Do I want to fill the entire down area here with hammocks? Maybe. All right, like the underside is just like all this hanging fruit, and that'll be like a motif, the hanging fruit motif. So we'll have hammocks, and then we'll have like fairy lights. Yeah, all right, okay, that's not a bad thing. It's, yeah, we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. So yeah, I feel like this is like maybe the downstairs is sort of the sleeping area, and the upstairs is more of the living space activity, and then we got our canopy on the exterior of the pomegranate. Okay, and why don't we, so in a house, what do you need? You need your hammock, you need your kitchen, and you need your hot tub. So why don't we deal with that? Because that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing with the piping that comes down from the fire, the clean burning pomegranate heat, and running it down to the under tub. And that provides heat and bubbles. And yeah, it's heat and bubbles, and that's all you want from a tub, right? Is sweet berry scented bubbles of hot water. Okay, all right, well, I got that looking real nice. Okay, all right, so that's coming up okay. Oh, that bubble popped. Boop. Okay. Yeah, so because it doesn't come right out of the pipe. It comes into the underfloor apparatus here. There we go. And so you can come in off the door room, and you can either go upstairs to the second floor, or you can, there's probably like a little door of some kind you can sidestep and go right into the pool area. That's so like if you are entertaining guests and they are pool folk, that you don't have to take them upstairs, give them the whole tour. Just some folks, some friends are just pool friends. So those friends come over, they go in the tub here, and it's a tub room. This is not a freestanding tub. This is a tub room. You can see that it's got everything you need. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to level with you. Hammock thing is probably not a good idea. We're going to get rid of the hammock there. We're going to get rid of that hammock there. Get rid of that. Okay. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay. 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 Beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so we get the a little bit of color in there for the water. Okay, it's good, instructive. Okay, all right. Well, you know, we got probably, let's see how much time remaining we got here. We got, oh gosh, we got approximately 9 minutes left. Got 9 minutes left here to finish up, folks. All the time we got for our head today, so we gotta economize here. What are we gonna do? I don't think the artichoke leaf and the lettuce leaf, I don't think that's gonna accentuate the overall design. I gotta be honest with you. I don't think that's gonna stay. So why don't we keep the things that are entirely within the pomegranate motif for exterior elements and not complicate it too much. So we've got an awning here and a door that are the same color as the dark red fruit of the pomegranate. And it will hug the curvature of the palm, so it won't be too distinctive of an element on its own. It's gonna be reasonably demure, and it's gonna be keeping in with the overall pomegranate nature of this thing. I mean, you already got a pomegranate as a giant house. Why do you got to gussy that up? I mean, it's gonna do all the work for you. So, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. There we go. There we go. And you can see that it's looking good. It's looking good. But it could use some clarifying. So let's go back in here and got the space itself. It could use some signifiers to indicate that these things are floors on their own. So I'm going to use a ladder because that shows pretty clearly you're going up and down here. These are areas that will be traversed back and forth. So look at that. Look at that go. Look at that go. Ain't that beautiful? All right. Clear that out. Clear that out with little detail work in there. Still got our ladder. So got our hammock in the foreground. That's going to make visual sense. There we go. There we go. Folks, just like 5 minutes remaining. Just 5 minutes remaining. So get ready to finish up. And then take what you got and you send it my way. We love to show it on the TV. We'd love to show it on the TV. So go ahead and put it on a self-addressed stamped envelope and mail it to Post Office Box 775-278-9325, Schenectady, New York. And we'll get plates made, and we'll show it on the screen of the next episode when you send that in. Okay, so I've got a little like an archway here to indicate that the bedroom area sort of opens up. And I'm going to keep with the archways and the circular areas here because it's such a distinctive house shape that I think the circle is going to be our motif here. It's going to be our design element because it's not strictly representational, so it doesn't fight with the idea of a pomegranate. It's nearly abstract, and it does call back to the round shape of the pomegranate. We got like our example of the peace sign motif in the windows of the door on the veranda here, but it's a porthole. I'm putting a telescope here because the guy who lives in a giant pomegranate, he's got to want to look at other people's houses. That's a little outlandish. I mean, I've got my flag here, my pomegranate. Okay, well, I'm very house proud. I've got a flag on there, say my house name. Just a few minutes left. Let's see if we can't reinforce maybe some handrails here. And again, just erasing a few things so as to hopefully give a little bit more of an indication of the inside and the outside here. I think another overlay here where I do some color and do sort of the edges of the cutaway are probably the best way to do it. But this has signifiers the inside and outside. It's got a little bit of, let's just get a little bit of wash, just a wash of color here. You can see what that, it's the pomegranate pool port hole down here at the bottom. You can see that looking through. It's not as easy to read, but it's, pardon me. Excuse me. It's one of those broadcast glitches. I'm not sure what happened there. Okay. And we got our just a few more areas of motif. And that'll look nice. It'll make the inside stand out. Yeah, so I think we can do that just a little bit. So the outside of this beauty. So that beauty, that's right. It's okay. It's not bad. Okay. And just a moment remaining. Just a moment. Just a scant 90 seconds remaining. And then we're going to stop here because Agnes is going to hit that organ. And you know, she do not waste time. She do not waste time. Okay. So it's got this space here. Just delineate that there's some structure here. Perhaps this is like a lofted bed area. And let's tease it out here. Any sort of like structural, maybe this is overhead storage. Maybe this is, well, it's not exactly clear. All right. Okay. Home dome, so it's got sort of like a balcony. And maybe there's even an opportunity to connect the area on the left. It's like, do you take a second ladder to get up to that little veranda there? Is perhaps there a story that's connecting the two of them behind? Yeah, so let's say that there is. Let's say that there is. That's a little archway there. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Let's get those fairy lights hanging off again. Again, this is just a nod back to the hanging fruit motif in the abstract. So it's fairy lights in some places. It's just the circle in other places. There we go. There we go. Ain't that nice? Ain't that nice? Oh, that's so nice. Look at that. So nice. And there we go, friends. Are there things that I would change? Yeah, there's things that I would change. But in terms of a first pass on a tiny home and a giant fruit, I think you could do a lot worse than that. And so that's what I'm telling myself. Friends, if this program has helped you, if this message has moved you, I am asking you to make between a 25-cent and a $1 donation to this ministry right now at this moment, or whatever amount this has been worth it to you. It's really not about the money. I just want to get a Zagnut bar. They're not expensive, but our budget's pretty tight on the ministry. Someday it won't be that way. I'm sure someday will be a big success with lots of folks watching. But right now that's it's not within our budget. So send a self-addressed stamped envelope with the word tithe to Post Office Box 775-278-9325, Schenectady, New York. And that is, of course, that's not going to be a tax-deductible donation to you. But maybe someday it will be. Maybe someday it will be. That's right, friends. I take a lot of solace in the someday. Someday maybe we're all going to leave this tent. Maybe someday it'll be a bigger tent. Maybe someday it'll be a tent, as big as San Francisco. And we'll all go outside in the back, and there'll be green grass, and we'll have a big pancake breakfast, some artistic fellowship. Maybe even my lovely wife Belle will be there. Wouldn't that be nice? Darling, don't forget to bring me home some of that boysenberry pie. And in the meantime, we're just gonna keep We're just going to keep showing up every Sunday. We're going to make something real good. Next Sunday, we're going to be making a diner-style crayon activity placemat. That's right. You know, like in a diner, how you get the activity placemat to use with crayons? Well, we're going to be making one next week. So you don't want to miss that, do you? All right, see you next Sunday, folks. See you next Sunday.